This is a betta fish. But right now it's living in this tiny dirty cup. It has no filter, the water is filled with fish poop, and he has no room to swim. So in this video, I'm going to rescue him and build him an ecosystem that will take us on a journey filled with fresh beginnings, a thriving habitat, and extraordinary moments. Our adventure started at the pet store when I was looking for some supplies. I was walking by the fish section and one of the betta cups looked a little weird. I took a closer look and that's when I saw him. I knew I had to save this fish. So I bought him and named him Rocket. Here's the plan. Move Rocket into a temporary home, build him an ecosystem, give him the best foods to help him heal, and get him a girlfriend. Once I got home, I acclimated Rocket before I put him into his temporary home. At first, I wasn't sure if Rocket was going to make it, but I think I was just in time. Thankfully, I had this tank here already set up and cycled to get him somewhere safe and out of that cup. Right now, Rocket isn't strong enough to eat, so let's build him his dream home to give him the proper space to get to full health. The build is going to start with our 10-gallon tank, equipped with everything we need to have it running smoothly. First up, the pond floor. The bottom of our tank is going to be a combination of aqua soil and sand. This combo is going to allow our plants to thrive and give our inhabitants a place to scavenge. I grabbed my flattener and began positioning the aqua soil. It looks great, but we need something else before we put the sand. Rocks. These rocks are gonna add some nice structure for our pets, but also give a home to bacteria, which helps keep the water safe for our new betta. After that, it was time to dump in all the sand. Once the sand was dumped in, I began to situate it. The tank is coming together, but let's give it a more natural look. So I began placing some driftwood on the rocks. Once I had them in all the spots I liked, I glued them in place. The foundation of Rocket's home is now complete. It is time to move on to the plants. These aquatic plants I am placing into the substrate are going to provide oxygen, give our pets a place to seek cover, and simulate a betta's home in the wild. Our dream home for Rocket is almost done. I just needed to fill it up, but we are not done yet. To make this a true dream home, we need something different: hydroponics. Hydroponics is basically when plants grow using water, not soil. The roots are completely clean of soil, but we are going to need a way to hold these plants at the top of the tank. So we are going to use these 3D planet holders with hooks. Once those were in place, I was able to place our plants into our suspended containers. Wow, this tank is looking amazing. The plants have added life to our tank, inside and out. I have a feeling our betta is going to enjoy this tank a lot more than that little dirty cup. Even with the tank looking so wonderful, we have to make sure it's set up with everything we need to have a thriving aquatic world. So I made sure to add a filter that doubles as a bubbler to provide filtration and oxygen to the tank. Our betta is a tropical fish, so that means he prefers warmer water. Colder water can make them lethargic, sick, or even cause them to stop eating. This is why we're adding a heater to our dream build to make sure Rocket is always at full strength. Lastly, we're adding a light and screwing it in to make sure our plants and animals are properly lit. But we have a problem. This light is not providing any coverage to our plants above the water line. So with the use of some magnets, I was able to install a light at the top. Now with everything in place, let's check in on our new friend. A few days have passed and Rocket is still pretty weak. I found him lying on the bottom of the tank a lot and even using the bunched up duckweed as a makeshift bed. But today something surprising happened. After a couple hours of him resting, Rocket started showing interest in the snail eggs on the glass. He slowly closed in on them. Our patient has grown hungry. That means Rocket is starting to blossom into an active betta. He has room to swim and explore, rather than sitting in a tiny corner in that cup. This quarantine tank might not be his dream home, but it does offer him plenty to explore. After I saw him take interest in the snail eggs, I noticed him take interest in something else. Rocket has now encountered his tanklings. These are some experimental shrimp I have in this quarantine tank. They are not fully grown. Not too long ago, these shrimp were being carefully nurtured by their mother. Her body is translucent, and if you look closely, you can see the tiny eggs safely nestled beneath her abdomen. Suddenly, she begins to twitch gently. Her body arches slightly as she flicks her tail, and with a graceful motion, the first of her tiny offspring is released into the water. These fascinating creatures are in their early stages of life, so there is the possibility that they can become a snack for a betta. Thankfully, there are two big reasons why that won't happen. First, shrimp are basically teleporters. They are quick enough to evade any sudden attacks. Second, I'm going to make sure Rocket is well fed so he doesn't get any ideas. A few days have passed and the tank is done cycling, but we have a problem. Algae is growing rapidly, so let's add some friends to keep Rocket's home clean. Our first addition is going to be some Amano shrimp. Only time will tell if our shrimp are going to be able to coexist with our betta. We have already seen Rocket take interest in the quarantine shrimp. Thankfully, Amano shrimp are larger than other shrimp species. But we're going to have to keep an eye on this little guy. He is not fully grown. Let's name him Snowball. Snowball is a different breed of Amano called snow Amano shrimp. I noticed something different in our Amano than when I bought them from the store. Our Amano shrimp have a slight shade of blue. This is an indicator that they are stressed, so let's get them into their new home. Rocket's tank is still going to need a lot more help. Enter the mystery snail. This mystery snail is going to be a great addition to the tank due to the simple fact that they eat algae that grows on the tank walls, decorations, and plants. But there is something very unique about the mystery snail. They have both lungs and gills. This allows the snail to breathe outside of the water. If that wasn't cool enough, mystery snails have built-in snorkels located by their left eye. This snorkel allows them to breathe without leaving the water. These peaceful janitors are one of the best tank mates for any betta. It is best to not put too many inhabitants in the tank at once, so I left the tank alone for 2 days. A group of bottom dwellers was what the tank needed next. With Rocket claiming the upper levels of the tank, these emerald corridoros stick to the bottom of the tank, scavenging the tank floor for snacks and debris. Their exterior is beautiful, but also functional. These little guys have bony plates along their bodies acting like a shield. Corridoros are peaceful creatures who love to be in groups. I feel like these guys have two moods. They're either going crazy scavenging or taking a break on the tank floor. These cute little guys had some friends waiting in their acclimation tank to join them. Here, we have a feeder guppy. Feeder guppies are guppies bred to feed to other fish. So, I also took the opportunity to save a couple of them to put them into Rocket's home. Feeder guppies don't have a long tail like regular guppies, which makes them good tank mates for Rocket. Bettas like to nip at the long tails of long-finned guppies. I also saved 2 male guppies along with our female. Males have more colors than females and are also smaller. But, after observing our female, I noticed something fascinating. Towards the back of our female by the tail is dark. This is an indicator that she is pregnant. They call this spot the gravid patch. So, make sure to stay to the end of the video because I think we're going to see some baby guppies. We will go against the grain and raise these feeders as pets. With everyone in the tank, let's see if we can get Rocket to finally eat. I used some tongs to hold on to some bloodworms and lowered them into the tank. Suddenly, Rocket appeared and he swiftly ate the worm. I dropped another one in and he swallowed it. Rocket is finally eating. He is not just healing but thriving. Our betta started to show his personality. I think it's safe to say bloodworms are quickly becoming Rocket's favorite treat. He reminds me of a shark eating a whale at the surface of the water. Let's see if Rocket's tank mates enjoy bloodworms as much as Rocket. The bloodworms floated to the bottom of the tank, and that got the attention of our bottom dwellers. I found this Amano shrimp devouring a bloodworm. Once he was done, our shrimp started acting funny. It started to curl up. Amano shrimp do this to clean their swimlets and to stretch. Not too far away, the corridoros were very active. Our social creatures are enjoying each other's company while they slurp up some worms. Once every worm in sight was consumed, they rested along the rocks. With Rocket eating and his tank mates transforming this ecosystem into a beautiful tank, I think it's time to put him into his dream home. But we have another problem. Currently, our 10-gallon tank does not have a lid, and our quarantine tank where Rocket currently is does. Bettas are known to be good jumpers. We need a solution fast. Fish portals. I popped in the fish portals and added our floating plants. Once they were in place, I dropped in some fertilizer. These floating plants will prevent Rocket from jumping out of the tank and enhance the upper level of his home. Bettas spend most of their time near the top of the tank. It has been about a week since we added in our floating plants. Everyone has been hard at work transforming this mini ecosystem. Our plants are growing and our shrimp have found their home. The Amano shrimp have found shelter between the rocks and the corridoros have maintained the tank floor. But as I was checking in to see how everyone was doing, I noticed some strange behavior in the corner. A pregnant guppy hovers near the surface. Her belly is looking huge, a clear sign that she's nearing birth. She seems to be pacing in the water. Suddenly, a baby guppy starts to peek out and boom, 2 babies pop out, back to back. These tiny fry are fully formed. They immediately swim away, looking to find a safe spot among the plants. Each newborn guppy is a small version of its mother, with tiny fins and a transparent body. Within no time, our tank was filled with baby guppies, and our mother is looking much slimmer than before the birth of her young. As the days went by, the baby guppies started to grow up, exploring every corner like tiny adventures. It was fun to watch them swim, no longer hiding in the plants as much. However, these little guys can't stay in here much longer. With the tank ready for Rocket, I collected our fry and moved them into a new home to grow up in. Our beta Rocket was doing great. He has made a full recovery and has been very active in his temporary home. I trained him to eat pellets off my finger, though it took him some time to get the hang of it. Eventually becoming a pro, Rocket was ready for his dream home. I scooped him out and put him into his acclimation container. Rocket was swimming around confused, but he was getting a sneak peek of his new home as the water dripped in. As I was observing Rocket, I started to notice he was developing some red on the end of his fins. This can be a sign of fin rot, or it can be new color emerging as he matures. Thankfully, we are putting him in this new home with perfect water conditions. Compared to the quarantine tank that has algae issues due to the lack of inhabitants that eat algae, this tank is filled with creatures who are keeping the tank ideal for Rocket. After about 30 minutes, he was ready to go in. I gently released Rocket into the tank. For a moment, he just hovers, taking in his new surroundings. Then, with a sudden burst of energy, he darts forward. He explores the tank, weaving through the plants and inspecting every corner. Rocket has come a long way since I found him in that tiny cup. As he was observing the floating plants in the corner, our mama guppy was curious to check out Rocket. But once Rocket noticed her, she darted away and he went after her. Thankfully, he got distracted by the snail, and then I noticed him waiting at the top for some food. So, one of the best parts of this video is coming up now, where I will be feeding Rocket a bunch of live food. First up on the list, brine shrimp, which I hatched from these eggs. I sucked them up and spit them into our tank for Rocket. This got Rocket all fired up. But I never actually saw him consume any of the brine shrimp. On the other hand, his tank mates were happy to eat them up. While watching the tank enjoy the brine shrimp, I noticed something that left me completely shocked. There were still baby guppies in the tank. I guess I was unable to collect them all before I put Rocket into the tank. This could become a big problem. The brine shrimp have brought them out from hiding. Our fry seem to like the shrimp more than Rocket, but Rocket is still hungry, and he might catch one of the fry instead. I guess that counts as live food. Jokes aside, these two little guys have plenty of coverage to hide from Rocket, but to give them the best chance of surviving in this ecosystem, I moved on to our next live food, bloodworms. These bloodworms are filled with protein to give Rocket strength and maintain his vibrant colors. Rocket is waiting near the top for some food. I shot some in and they landed on him. Yeah, he needs some training. So I fed him at the portal and he started going crazy, attacking the bloodworms non-stop. And even to my surprise, our mama guppy came over and decided to snag a couple. Rocket loved them so much, he would attack the tube every time I fed him. But out of nowhere, I saw this. Our guppies are competing for the worms, even attacking Rocket. After seeing how much everybody in the tank loved the worms, I decided to drop a bunch at the bottom of the tank. These worms wiggle and move so much, it brought out the predatory instincts in our fish that created a feeding frenzy. Then I saw Rocket try to intimidate Corridora, but he was unfazed and Rocket retreated. I left their tank alone to enjoy their feast. The days slowly slipped away. It was the next morning and I was getting ready to clean my tank's glass when I noticed a bubble nest. Then I saw Rocket. He was working hard, blowing bubbles one after another, right in the corner of the tank. This is a sign that Rocket is happy and comfortable. I guess we know now that bloodworms make Rocket happy. And so our next task awaits us. I went to the pet store and bought this girl. Not only is she beautiful, but she has something that is super interesting. See that little white dot right there? That's called the egg spot. This means she is ready to lay eggs. Before I put her with Rocket, I need you guys to comment a name for her, and the most liked comment will be her new name. The quarantine tank from earlier will be the perfect tank to breed them in. I dropped Rocket back in and placed this breeding box in there. The box is going to allow them to see each other without them being able to make contact. Two things need to happen in the next 24 hours to see if they like each other. First, she needs to flare back at him when he's flaring. Second, he needs to build a bubble nest to show her he likes her. In the beginning, Rocket was just checking out the breeding box at the bottom, while she relaxed at the top. Then, out of nowhere, she pooped. Yeah. After her quick bathroom break, I saw him eventually flare at her, but she did not flare back. Time passed and the two were settling into the tank. And at hour 6, she flared at him. However, Rocket was the one that gave her the stone face this time. I was starting to lose hope. Maybe they don't like each other. Right before it was time to dim the lights, the two had finally flared at each other. One out of the 2 goals have been achieved with plenty of time to spare. By the time morning comes, we will know if our second goal was reached and we can finally release our beautiful red betta into the tank. Here, we have a bubble nest. Rocket was close taking a quick rest before continuing his project. Our second goal has been achieved, and it is finally time to release her. She swims up and stops for a second, and then dashes out. Rocket stares at her, and then boats into the box. He never stops surprising me with his peculiar personality. For the first couple hours, Rocket would just follow her around the tank as she explored it. Even taking interest in the snail, which she decided to attack. I think this made Rocket fall in love with her, because he started to flare at her and continue to build his bubble nest. I started to see her hang around the nest more and more. It was almost like she was admiring what he had built. She started to play with Rocket, swimming at him, and he would chase her. And then, all of a sudden, he wrapped around her. This is called the embrace. Rocket is performing this squeezing motion to cause the female to release the eggs. After each attempt, she would lay there almost frozen because of all the contractions. This is normal behavior during the spawning process. Once she releases the eggs, he will then fertilize the eggs almost instantly. There is only one problem. They embraced multiple times over the next 2 hours, and she never released any eggs. But Rocket and his new girlfriend did not give up. They continued to try. After every attempt, Rocket was standing by ready to capture any eggs before they hit the bottom of the tank. And then, one egg appeared and slowly drifted down. Success! Just like that, our betta couple were pros. They continued to embrace and the eggs kept falling. Rocket was there to collect them every time using his mouth, and his partner was there to assist him. Once Rocket collected the eggs that were released, he would spit them into the bubble nest for protection. Later on, they were done spawning and I removed the female. The task of caring for the eggs was a one-man mission. For the next 48 hours, Rocket was going to care for the eggs until they hatch. A lot has happened, and Rocket needs energy. So I threw in some food for him, but once he was done eating, he was back on duty watching the eggs. It's the next day and Rocket is still on duty. If we take a closer look at the eggs, we can see there is movement. Thanks to Rocket's great parenting skills, he has been there to make sure the eggs stay in the nest. The fry are starting to develop. Within a day or two, the eggs will hatch. Another 24 hours have passed and something amazing has happened in the nest. There they are. The fry have finally hatched. The fry are hanging vertically from the bubbles. We can even see a couple resting on the leaves. They are constantly popping in and out. And if they aren't able to make it back to the surface, their dad is there to catch them and spit them back into the nest, over and over again. Rocket has come such a long way since I first found him. Now his babies are swimming on their own, ready to start their own journeys. It's amazing to see how far they've come. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button.